Welcome to the Municipality of South Dundas Council meeting for Wednesday, March the 4th, 2026, with its council team, staff, guests, media, and delegations. We'll get the meeting started with a motion to open the meeting. Let it resolve that the March 4th council meeting of the Municipality of South Dundas now be opened at 5:59 p.m. Moved by Councillor Vino, seconded by Councillor Ward. All in favor? Carried. Deputy Mayor St. Pierre sends his regrets tonight. He is out of town. Moving to number 2, actually, pass me your agenda for 1 second, Cole. So, sorry about that. I gave all mine out. Confirmation of agenda. Let it resolve that the any additions or amendments to tonight's agenda. Seeing none, I have a motion. Let it resolve that the Council of Municipality of South Dundas approve the agenda as presented. Moved by Councillor Smith, seconded by Councillor Vino. All in favor? Carried. And disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. Seeing none. Number 4, adoption of minutes of the regular meeting of February 18th. Any omissions or additions to those minutes? Seeing none, let it resolve that the following minutes be adopted as presented. February 18, regular council meeting. Moved by Councillor Vino, seconded by Councillor Smith. All in favor? Carried. Now we're moving to delegations. So we have Director Rebecca Luck from the SGG Library Services, and a board member, Jim, is with us. Welcome, everybody. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council, staff, and members of the public who may be watching. My name is Rebecca Luck. I'm the Director of Library Services with the SGG Library, and I'm here tonight to provide you with a quick update on library services. As a quick shout out, I do want to thank Jim here. He is a member of our library board, and he came out to support the library tonight. So thank you, Jim.
Jim Alguar from Williamsburg, South Dundas resident.
So South Dundas has 3 library branches: Iroquois, Morrisburg, and Williamsburg. The Iroquois branch has been a staple in the South Dundas community for a very long time. It is open 20 hours per week. And in 2025, the Iroquois branch circulated over 8,000 print materials, over 900 digital. They used 330 hours of public computer usage. We had 321 library patrons. We welcomed nearly 6,000 visitors, and we registered 110 new members. In 2025, Iroquois underwent a renovation. We received new carpeting, new paint, and a new door wrap. And I just want to give a big shout out to the municipality and its staff for coordinating this project and ensuring the branch was reopened to the public in a timely manner. I tried my best to kind of give you a snapshot of what it looked like before. So you can see the carpet was cut in various locations. It was probably 30 plus years old of children, rolling around in the carpet. So it got a really nice little facelift, and in line with our marketing, we gave it a splash of color for the door. Programs are important to the residents of South Dundas. The programs offered bring a sense of community, offering recurring programs such as their book club called POP. They have an annual perennial plant swap, an annual cookie exchange, but they also provide a lot of additional programs, both seasonally and special. We had a Craft No Sew Bunny program, a Garden in a Glove, Hidden Hearts Week, Houseplant Exchange, World War II trivia, created vintage bookmarks, and we had local author visit Michael Saver. These are just a quick snapshot of the programs that were offered last year in Iroquois. We welcomed over 200 adults and over 400 children. In 2025, the Morrisburg branch remains one of our most popular and well-used branches, with over 18,000 print materials, nearly 1,700 digital materials borrowed. We had 1,182 hours of public computer usage, over 700 library patrons, almost 14,000 visitors, and we registered 255 new members in Morrisburg alone. Morrisburg is a community hub for its programs with numerous recurring programs such as their book club called Page Turners. They also welcome a fiction fellowship writing group, an after-school club, which I've been told gets really rowdy when they bring out the snacks. They have a Morrisburg Spice Club and Seaway Yarn Knitters. And very similarly to Iroquois, they also host a multitude of other programs. We also welcomed local author visits from Keisha Kufi. The art of bird photography, we welcomed Terry Merkley. We had an adult show and tell travel edition, a kids' choice movie night. We crafted a fall wreath. We had amazing March break programming last year. And when I say that, typically what we do is we have system-wide March break program where we say, okay, every single branch is going to do this one activity. Morrisburg really truly goes above and beyond. They had a Mario Madness week. They had Mario Day paint party and a Mario movie and PJ night. So super fun. Mario enthusiasts in the room can appreciate that. Yeah. I guess I should mention, that in 2025 we welcomed nearly 700 adults, 433 teens, and nearly 900 children. The Williamsburg branch is popular amongst commuters, with patrons coming in and out of the branch to pick up their items. In 2025, we circulated 7,300 print materials, almost 700 digital materials. We had 64 hours of computer usage, 161 library patrons, over 2,600 visitors, and 42 members. I'm spewing a lot of data, and I do realize that, and it's not to give everyone a pop quiz on the visitors at Morrisburg, but really just to highlight for all your branches how well used they are from the data that is given. The library branches in South Dundas are well loved, they're well used, and the numbers reflect this. So in likewise manner to Morrisburg and Iroquois, the Williamsburg branch hosts a number of recurring programs. We have family story time and summertime Lego Saturdays. We also have had Saturday morning coffee and chat puzzle edition. We've had craft nights, bugtastic story time, garden plant exchange, craft hand-painted flower pots, altered book craft night, and holiday trivia. These are just, again, snapshots of some of the programs that we've offered. We welcomed 68 adults and 138 teens last year. As part of our community outreach initiative, SDG Library has been popping up within the community. So in Morrisburg, we attended the local History Hartford. It's all about the river, and Upper Canada Bird Sanctuary Story Walk. And what I should have prefaced this by saying is that the numbers in the brackets represent the number of interactions with the public. So that last one for the story walk, we interacted with 144 community members just in the story walk alone. For Iroquois, we attended the South Dundas Book Sale, the Williamsburg Harvest Fest, and the Dundas Wellness Fair. The SDG Library provides outreach services to long-term care communities and homebound patrons. We conduct monthly outreach visits to Chartwell Hartford retirement residents, providing library materials and offering special programs, crafts, and digital resource help. May to June is very busy for Morrisburg and class visits. We host class visits from Morrisburg Public School twice a month, grade 1 and grade 2-3 split class. We also host visits from St. Mary St. Cecilia Catholic School twice a month with their kindergarten and grade 1 class. And during these visits, kids come to the library, they're able to select library material and borrow these to take home. For Iroquois, we host visits from the Iroquois Public School for grades 5-6 split. And in Williamsburg, we conduct monthly outreach visits in 2 locations, to the Dundas County Hospice and the J.W. McIntosh Community Support Facility. So in these visits, we provide library materials for residents and visiting members. I should also mention that Williamsburg also supports Timothy Christian School. We don't make class visits, but we do curate boxes of books for them specifically for programs. So for example, for Black History Month, we would curate a box of books specifically tailored for the teachers. So oftentimes when people hear of the library, they think that's the place to go to borrow a book. But in reality, it is so much more than that. And I would be remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to make a bit of a sales pitch. So in South Dundas residents are encouraged to visit and explore their local library to borrow books, DVDs, magazines. They can access free Wi-Fi. They can print, scan, copy, and fax. They can use a computer and attend a program, just as we saw in the previous slides. You can borrow museum pass. So as a family of 4, you can go to the Ottawa's Nature Museum free with your library card. You can borrow musical instruments. So if you have a kid who wants to learn how to play the guitar, but you don't want to spend a small fortune, go to the library, borrow a guitar, see if your child enjoys playing the guitar before investing. You can play games, do puzzles, you can borrow nature and exercise kits, and last year we launched board games which have been hugely popular, which you can borrow at the SCG Library. At the SCG Library, community members can connect to our digital library where they can listen to audiobooks. You can borrow ebooks, comics, magazines. You can read e-newspapers through Press Reader. You can listen to radio shows, watch movies and TV series through our app called Canopy, which is a streaming service. You can watch craft tutorials. You can learn languages. If you have staff who you want to have professional development as part of their annual performance review, assign them a LinkedIn Learning tutorial where they can either brush up on their Excel skills or learn how to be a better communicator. And we also have Learn with Canadian Encyclopedia. For those looking to create, community members can turn their imagination to reality with the use of the Maker Lab and all of its services with the 3D printer. So as you've been given on your desk, these are fidgets that were created with our 3D printers. We also have vinyl printers, sewing machines, button makers. We have a converter for VHS to DVD. We have a die cut machine. We have a laser engraver, a sublimation printer, and we have a scanner to digitize those photos. So we just talked a lot about the Maker Lab, but the Maker Lab is located in Finch, which is obviously not in South Dundas, but what we like to do is we like to bring those Maker Lab programs and activities to all the branches within SDG Library. So last year, as part of our March break programming, we had sublimation bookmarks that we created with the kids. This year, we're going to be doing something in a similar manner. We're going to be having a contest for the kids to create their own bookmarks, and then the residents of SDG can vote on their favorite bookmark, which will be professionally published within all SDG Library branches. Another example of Maker Lab activities that we promote is the Take and Make kits. So last year, we made 240 kits, and each kit contained enough material to make a snowflake bookmark. So that's what's pictured in the picture at the bottom right. And what we did is we used our Cricut to make the outline of the bookmark, punch all the holes necessary. We provide string, and we also crafted a 3D printed sewing needle. And we packaged this all up in a kit, and within a month, we had no more of these 240 kits. And so they're very popular, and they're a great resource to take home. I'd like to highlight a partnership that we entered into last year, which I was really excited for. So in 2025, the SCG Library formed a new partnership with the Upper Canada District School Board and its Parent Involvement Committee. So thanks to the generous donation, the SCG Library curated a special collection of over 450 titles designed to support parents, children, and teens. This diverse selection includes both fiction and nonfiction, with a strong focus on Canadian authors and themes that matter to families. So looking at themes such as parenting, mental health, trying to encourage kids to go screen-free with different activities, and perhaps post-secondary planning. So this investment of 450 titles was over $13,000 as an investment. And what's great is that this collection is housed at the SCG Library, but anyone within the Upper Canada District School Board geographic region can access this material. Every year, the STG Library hosts the TD Summer Reading all summer long. It's a program designed to inspire children to build upon their literacy skills, and it's delivered by two of our summer reading club facilitators, which are student positions. And what they do is they provide stories, crafts, activities, and a reading challenge for kids. So last year, the program ran for 7 weeks over the summer. We had over 1,300 attendees, which, as you can see, is a significant enough increase from the previous year. And as I had mentioned before, we do a reading challenge. And what that is that every time a child reads a book, they enter a ballot. And as you can see, we received over 4,000 reading ballots. So that really just gives you a perspective of how much we're encouraging kids to read and really promoting early literacy. Then we have STG Reads. So STG Reads is a one book, one community program that encourages all residents across STG to read the same title before coming together for an evening with the author. Last year, we featured Nita Prose and her series Molly the Maid. We had over 200 attendees, which filled the hall to capacity. We circulated her series 256 times, and on top of that, we also sold 136 copies. It was a wonderful evening with the author. In the month of November, Pages for Presents invites community members to help spread the joy of reading by donating new books to children in need. Last year, we received 216 books, which we then partnered with different agencies such as Children's Aid Society, Koala Place, Naomi's Family Resource Center, and House of Lazarus to distribute these books to families and children in need. So we've talked a lot about what the SCG Library did last year, but looking ahead to the future, this year we want to continue delivering all the amazing programs, events, and outreach that we do. We are also going to be undergoing our new strategic plan and developing that. We're going to be looking at a feasibility study for a potential expansion of one of our facilities. We're going to be undergoing a membership drive in the month of October. So if you don't have your library card yet, come to your local library and come get it. It's free. We'll be looking at incorporating more facility improvements. And lastly, we're going to be launching a new program called 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten, which, as it turns out, it's exactly how it sounds. So we're encouraging, again, that piece of early childhood literacy and promoting reading at an early age, where we're encouraging children to read 1,000 books before kindergarten. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak tonight. I appreciate any opportunity to promote the library and all that we offer. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Director Luck. Appreciate spending the time tonight and come share about the library. And I'm the self-proclaimed biggest advocate of the library, as I always talk about the library. And I'm super proud to be on it. When I became mayor and I joined County Council, and I was selected to be on the library board with Margaret McDonald and Jim Alguire, Joanne McCaslin from the public, mayors Tony Fraser, Lachlan McDonald, Frank Laundrie, and myself, and of course Rebecca Luck is the current director. Karen was the director previously. How important the libraries are, and like you think about Williamsburg, that was going to close at one time, and the 2,600 visitors last year to that library, and how important it is to the members of the community and the JW Macintosh, right? It's really important, and I love it, and the municipality funds it 99.5%, right? So it's our tax dollars that funds the library top to bottom, right? There's no real provincial funding, so it's our tax dollars, and Rebecca Luck and her team doing an amazing job, really amazing job. And every time I visit the library, the last time, I think Michael Sarver was in Iroquois, and that was a great day when he shared his story. So I continue to love that. And I'm also the biggest, and Rebecca likes to share the data because I'm an advocate. I want to know the data, right? Let's see the data, right? How many visitors, and right, how can we improve it, right? And get the word out. And that's how we know we're doing better. And they do a wonderful job. Maria does a wonderful job in the marketing plan and the advertising. And it's really important. And I continue to advocate to keep expanding the programs. And I'm all for it. So promote the library. And when you go in there, it's amazing who you see in the libraries. It's really incredible. So thank you for all your work, and hope to continue on the board for many more years to come. Any other comments, questions? Yeah, Councillor Ward.
Thanks, Mayor. So echoing that greatly, I'm a big fan of the library. My family's a big fan of the library. It's really a community connection space. It's not just a library. I've actually met quite a few moms at the library who now I talk to regularly. So also if someone's looking for that kind of connection, if you're a newcomer, it's a great place to meet people. It's not just about books and materials, as Jason has already elaborated. It really is a community space. And I just wanted to extend my thanks to the staff, especially in South Dundas. They are excellent. They go above and beyond, and they take the time, especially with my kids, and the patience, and answer a million questions about why. So I really appreciate them. They are stars, gems, I would say. And I really hope that they continue forever to be librarians, because I very much enjoy having them in the community and a part of my children's lives. So thank you.
Yeah, Councillor Smith.
Yeah. Thank you for your presentation. I did learn something new tonight. I did not know about the musical instruments, that was available. Are they available is there a selection that's available at every branch, or is it just certain items at certain branches?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, all you need to do is go to the library website and you type in the search bar exactly what you want. So if you want, acoustic guitar, or if you want whatever we might have in terms of instruments, and then you can request it to come to your local library. So it is housed in Finch, but if you live up in Williamsburg, you request it, and within a few days, you'll be able to pick that up.
Okay, because I of the times that I've been in the libraries, whether it's Morrisburg, Iroquois, or Williamsburg, I don't actually remember seeing a display or something. So I didn't even know that was available as a service. So being a parent who spent the $200 on the guitar, that's now currently sitting underneath my couch. Only
Maybe
been
you
used
can donate
once.
it to the library.
I wish I'd have known that service was available.
No, that's great. That's great. Yeah, and the programming continued to expand, and there's all different avenues. And one of my favorite events that I'm showing off here tonight, you sold 136 Nita Prose books. Well, 3 of them are here. So SDG Reads, my favorite time of the year, when we all read the same book and meet the author. It's really a cool event to be part of, and the conversations. And in the last 2 years on the board, we started the book club. So now on the board every month, now we have 9 meetings a year, so it's only 9 books. We read 9 books, and it could be all different topics, right? And we are expanding our own knowledge and promoting just reading and talking about it. And I always share that at county council for sure. So thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move it on to 6A, action request, CS 2026-05 Dundas Hospice donation request. Clerk LeBrun.
Thank you, Mayor Broaden, through you. So this report is a follow-up from our last council meeting on the 18th regarding the donation request from Dundas County Archives. Dundas County Hospice, not Archives. So the hospice runs a free equipment lending program, things like wheelchairs, walkers, and lift chairs, and they're available to any North or South Dundas residents. The original request was for $4,000 a year to aid this program to keep running. So the direction that we got from council the last meeting was to work with North Dundas to find out what they were contributing, as it's as we share kind of the services. So at the February 25th meeting for North Dundas, they committed to $15,000 over 5 years. $3,000 a year. So in the report, you'll read that staff are recommending to match that. So $15,000 over 5 years, so 2026 to 2030. The first $3,000 would come out of general reserves in 2026, and then the remaining of that funding would come at yearly budgets. So there are other options in the report for council to consider, but we are recommending option 1, and happy to take any questions from council at this time.
Thank Clerk LeBrun. Questions, comments at this point? See, I will just make one. Councillor Smith, go ahead.
Yeah, so basically overall, I do agree with the concept of giving the $3,000 a year for 5 years. However, so now we're getting into a situation where we're pre-spending money for the next council. So is it wise, or is it a good idea for us to do that, or should we just commit to this year only and then revisit this, a 4-year term next year during budget time? And whoever is sitting here can make that decision.
Yeah, it's always our choice, for sure. We get to make that decision. I think it's typical practice that we would, make that decision. Not a big amount. Previous council made that decision for the Dundas Manor, which we fully support, and just echoing what North Dundas did would, be consistent with what we would want to do. But certainly we have that choice for sure. I'm supportive of just making the decision. It's, I think it's important to the community, as we continue to work and we plan to do delegations. We're trying to get to see what the funding envelopes look like for these opportunities. And at the Iroquois District Business Group meeting yesterday morning, some of their events they fundraised, and the last event was for the hospice. They raised $936, right? So we should continue to advocate like those events that when they raise money is for our constituents to donate, right, or participate, and it's a great way for residents to donate as well, right? So, but I'm good with committing for the 15,000. Point taken, though. I understand your question. You're fine with option A? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I have a motion. Let it be resolved that the Council of Municipality of South Dundas directs staff to proceed with a multi-year financing of $15,000 to the Dundas Hospice over a 5-year period, and that the 2026 contribution of $3,000 be transferred from general reserves, grants, and donations. Moved by Councillor Ward, seconded by Councillor Vino. All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
So just to clarify, it's the opposed is because I do not want to pre-spend the next council's money. If this same conversation comes up, I would have no problem locking in for the next 4 years. I just want to make that clear.
Noted. Thank you, Councillor Smith. Yeah. Okay, 7A, 2026-14 Iroquois Plaza debenture options. Treasurer Stewart.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Broad. So as next steps to funding the Iroquois Plaza project, Infrastructure Ontario require council to approve a bylaw to accompany the application for funding. Staff is proposing to submit a 15-year term at 3.04%. Once that application is approved by Infrastructure Ontario, they will provide a rate offer letter agreement, which will then lock in the rate. Currently, the rate isn't locked in at 4.03%. But when everything does come back, it will be a locked-in rate, at which time council will again need to approve that report. And at that point, funds will be distributed to the municipality. For comparison purposes, we did approach BMO for financing options. They did offer, again, a 15-year term, amortization term, but a 5-year renewable at 4.68%, so a little bit higher than Infrastructure Ontario. So because of that, there are obviously other options, but staff is recommending a 15-year term with Infrastructure Ontario.
Very good. And this is just to make the application. It'll have to come back for us actually to accept
That's correct.
the loan future. Okay. Questions, comments? Yeah, Councillor Ward.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor, to the treasurer. Just a question. With IO loans, can you repay them early without a penalty, or is there a penalty?
Through you, Mayor Broad, you can't pay them early.
Okay.
You have to, pay them over the term that you agreed to.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Yeah, Councillor Smith.
Yeah, through you, Mayor Broad, to Treasurer Stewart, if we had money invested today, like sitting in reserve, what would our interest rate be right now that we would be earning on that money?
Sorry, through you, Mayor Broad, it's prime less 1.65, and I'm not quite sure what prime is at right now. It would be a little bit less.
Not 5.6%.
No,
Yeah.
it isn't.
Yeah.
I was just curious, like, what the difference would be between this. So if we paid cash and we took that money out of reserves, like, what would the spread be between like the 4.03 and then the interest that we'd actually would be earning? Like, what is the actual money that we would be?
Would it be fair for me to say when it comes back with the locked-in rate, we could have a comparison chart.
We
Because
certainly could.
then you'd have time to go and look what the interest rate is, and then we would know on the night we
Okay.
took the, I want to execute, which one to go.
Because then we don't have to take the loan tonight. We're taking.
Yeah, we're just applying,
yeah,
right? So getting it locked in,
a good point.
but we should have that data.
Okay.
So we could compare for sure.
Certainly.
Instead of putting you,
And what
the
I could
spot,
do is have it over the 15-year term, to see what the savings is, what the extra cost is.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the deputy mayor kind of mentioned that at one time, thinking about what was the difference, so I think that'd be good. Okay, very good. I have a motion, let it resolve that the council municipality enact bylaw 2026-14, being a bylaw to authorize the submission of application to Ontario Infrastructure and Lands Corporation and to authorize long-term borrowing through the insurance of debenture and a principal amount not exceeding $1,227,434.63 for the Iroquois Plaza renovation project. Moved by Councillor Ward, seconded by Councillor Smith. All in favor? Carried. Thank you, Treasurer Stewart. Boards and committees, didn't have very much action the last couple of weeks. Environmental Board, we didn't meet. Cemetery, Councillor Smith? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so we had a cemetery meeting. It was on February the 9th. Few things that came out of that was, one of our board members, Susan Peters, so she's from the archives. She's been pretty diligently working at updating our current listing of cemetery contact people. So quite often, there could be people that will just call up here looking, say, who do I contact to, get, a loved one buried in, whichever cemetery. And a lot of the information that we had was maybe out of date and stuff like that. So Susan's been actively involved in doing that. Director Jansen was there. We went over some of our budgets. We had a pretty small budget that we're working with this year. So there was just a few things that were identified at the Wesleyland Cemetery, which is on Brinston Road, just south of the Christian Reformed Church. There's a dead ash tree that it's a hazard. It needs to come down. So we're going to be spending some money to take that tree down. And of course, it's a hard one. It has to come down with a bucket truck, like piece by piece, because you can't just cut the whole tree and drop it over in the cemetery. You also do a lot of damage to the stones and stuff that are there. So there's that. And the rest of our budget is going to be earmarked for a spring cleanup day at the Dundas Cemetery. So that has been planned for Saturday, May the 2nd. So that's the weekend before Mother's Day. So I plan on being there. It's going to be advertised on all of our social media channels. Going to try and have a big event, cleaning stones, stuff like that. So one of our board members, Aaron Stone, is actively involved in basically cleaning stones. She has like a whole TikTok page or whatever, social media following revolving around cleaning cemetery stones, if you can imagine. So she's going to be there and doing some tutorials, and we're going to have some supplies there for people who have loved ones in that cemetery who would like to maybe brighten up their stone a little bit. So
You said that was May the 2nd?
May the 2nd.
What, do you have a time kind of frame?
Morning?
It's at like 8,
Yeah,
8 till noon or
8 till
something?
noon,
8
sort
till
of,
noon,
yeah.
Something like that, okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, rain day, Sunday the 3rd.
Very good.
If rain day, if needed. So that's about it.
Great, thanks, Councillor Smith, appreciate it. Okay, any other meetings in the last 2 weeks? So consent agenda, 9A, resolution, Township of Jolly, building improvements to Highway 11 and 17. Resolution, Township of Pelinch, invest ready certified site designation. C, resolution, municipality of Wawa, Life Labs closure. D, resolution, Township of Perry, reduced rate distribution of library resources. And E, Rural Ontario Development Grant submission, economic development strategy. That's it. I have a motion. Let it resolve that all the consent agenda items be received for information purposes. Moved by Councillor Vino, seconded by Councillor Ward. All in favor? Carried. Discussion items. 10A, implementation of plaza user fees. Next steps, CO Dahan.
Thank you. Just very quick, and the reason this is in this council agenda is because if people had attended or were looking for the material from the last council agenda and then wanted to see the follow-up, would understand that why it's actually not being presented now, but we'll bring it back at the March 18th meeting. And Councillor Smith brought up a good point today. I thought I had covered it in this quick key information report, but I hadn't, so thank you for pointing that out to me. The plaza meetings that were identified in the last meeting, of course, because we didn't actually have that discussion, we didn't move forward with that. And we'll talk about that again at our March 18th meeting, and we have some tentative dates for open houses if that's the direction we get at that time. So that's it.
Thank you, CEO DeHaan. Moving to 10B, key information report, fire service next steps. Fire Chief DeHaan, CEO DeHaan.
And that's why we're talking about it. Yeah, thank you. So I've got a brief presentation just to go through to help guide the discussion. Essentially, if we can go to the next slide, Abby, thank you very much. We're ready really to begin that process of the next phase of the leadership model that council wants to pursue with our fire service. I will say just, day-to-day needs of the community are really being met. So that, in terms of that concern, should be none there because the staff that are out there at these stations are doing a great job keeping the community safe and responding when they're called upon. But really what's missing right now, of course, is without someone kind of leading the charge in the way that needs to be led, we need to have someone to help refocus on that long-term strategy and goal. So key takeaways for me over the past 5 months as I've been kind of sitting in an acting role. We do have great morale across the stations. They are really focused on looking ahead and not behind. We've had a wonderful recruitment drive over the fall and into the winter. So that's increased our numbers. We've got great collaborations across the stations and with our regional partners. So you're seeing things like station chiefs working together and then all of us working together with our regional partners with the training, as we talked about at our last meeting as an example, and good, just there's a good network with the station chiefs going, sharing information and looking at other opportunities that we can work together on. And council is aware of this. That operational foundation that we have in that fire service is very, very strong. And I do want to thank the station chiefs for the hard work they do at training and getting the firefighters prepared and ready to respond at a moment's notice. There's a lot of pride in the work that takes place at those halls and on those calls. And of course, and it should be no surprise to council, like the daytime response can be a challenge for us. We do have a core group of people that are available just by virtue of the graciousness of their employers or just their availability during the day. But a vast majority of our firefighters just aren't able to respond to a daytime call because they're just not in the community or working away from the station, which completely understandable and not unique to South Dundas. So just leading up into this presentation, and actually before I get into this slide, I do want to again thank those station chiefs, and I do need to also thank our fire prevention officer for all the hard work that has happened over the past 5 months in supporting me. They've done a great job and kind of stepped above and beyond. It would have been very easy for people just to kind of turn inwards and kind of focus on the things that they normally do on a day-to-day basis, but all of them have kind of stepped up and helped to keep things moving and rolling. So been very appreciative of that support. So yeah, going back into the presentation here. So what I did was we did have some discussions with the leadership group about what they're looking for moving forward, just to make sure that their thoughts and views were incorporated into the decision, or I guess the direction that I'm looking for from council this evening. Really, they're looking for a supportive servant-style leadership or a leader within the fire service. Ideal characteristics that they look for in that type of person is someone enabling success, removing administrative barriers, and working with them to achieve the shared goals. And certainly it was apparent in the discussion we had of lesser importance to the operational side of our fire service is someone with extensive operational experience that wants to be in that incident command position when a call comes out. They have confidence in the ability to do the work that they do and want to have a leader that is there to support as they lead that operational response. The other things, the other takeaways from some of those discussions is really there's that senior leadership group we have at the fire service. There's really no desire for them to do any more administrative work than they do already. They want to remain focused on the operational tasks that they enjoy doing and take a lot of pride and take a lot out of. They do appreciate the station autonomy that they do have and the pride that they have in their stations, but they also recognize, and that was, I did very much appreciate that. They recognize that South Dundas is one department and they need to work together to see success. So really to kind of capture that, they want to maintain their unification in their purpose. They want to be consistent, collaborative in their approach, and work towards common goals. And that's for all the stations and senior leadership that we've got. So to that, I've prepared a couple of options for council's consideration, and really, again, the purpose of this is I'm looking for some direction in terms of an option or two that council wants me to investigate a little bit further. This is not the final decision. That will come at a later date, but I also would like council to appreciate that I could spend 6 months kind of investigating and going through all the iterations of the different opportunities here. So if we can ideally narrow into which direction we want to take, then at least I can spend the efforts on the highest chance of support from the council table. So option one is, we'll call it the fire chief model, which is essentially the current organizational structure we have right now. So that would maintain that current traditional position we have in place. What we could do through that approach is target more administrative experience rather than operational experience. And we could update a job description to lessen the emphasis on operational support and command. I've highlighted some advantages and disadvantages to that option. Of course, it maintains the traditional model. It maintains a clear line of accountability within the organization, results in minimal organizational change, and with targeted recruitment, we could meet those needs that we've identified. Disadvantage is, of course, the success is really based on hiring the right person. It doesn't really address if a traditional model is the correct way to go. There's a lot of discussion, and you see some different options and opportunities that other municipalities are considering. And just even interestingly, this week, a colleague of mine that I work with that's from Western Ontario, he knows that I'm the acting fire chief right now, and his background is public works. Their municipality is going through a transition with the leadership that they have at their municipality, and wanted to talk a little bit more about what we're looking at and what we're doing, because they're thinking the same thing, that do we actually, is the traditional model the right way to go, because they're a small municipality as well, and have different needs to what would normally be considered traditional. So that's option one. So going to option two, it's a little bit of a refinement of that option one, and really what that refinement is defining the position more of a director rather than a traditional fire chief. We still have to appoint a fire chief, so legislatively they'd still be a fire chief, but I think you can consider it more in legislative title rather than actual job title. And then really get into the job description and switch the emphasis to management experience rather than fire experience. That would require a reliance on in-house and external expertise, because there's been some instances where I've had to, just in that, I'm going to call it that fire chief designation, needed to work with some of our neighboring municipalities to help with interpretation of fire code, things like that, because of some questions that have come through, and we just need that expertise to help us through. I wouldn't suggest that we can expect free help every time, and our neighbors understand we're in a little bit of a transition period, so we've had great support, and I imagine as these things come up, as I'm here, they'll continue to do that, but I don't think it's fair to expect that they're going to do that forever for us, and that's not, it's not reasonable that we could expect that. So advantages with option two is that it does broaden the candidate pool for us, because it widens it out to really management experience rather than management and fire experience. Aligns with feedback from station personnel, and it positions the role to focus on that strategic advancement of the fire service. Disadvantage, of course, is the credibility challenge side of things. Like, I make no bones about my lack of experience with fire service. The big joke is, I'm the fire chief. You just tell them to put more water on it. It's so easy. But the reality is it's much more complicated than that. And the staff that are out there have been fantastic to support my inexperience in the role. We will require, like I said, coming back to this, we're getting help right now. We can't expect technical support all the time. So we will require external support for technical expertise. We do need to get buy-in to get success. So, is that something that would be accepted within the fire service? I don't know. And it may take a long time to achieve that buy-in. Option 3 is a little bit, again, of a change of direction, and that's more of an internal reorganization. So that one's more looking at our internal capacity right now and rebalancing duties and responsibilities across the organization. In my cursory look at this, we'd still need to add staffing in some way, shape, or form. I mean, we are now without a fire chief. It's a body that was, an important position within the organization that did things like emergency management and health and safety, and a lot of things that we've all kind of picked up here and there to keep things going, but not necessarily on a full-time strategic long-term basis. So, and that's still lacking. That resource is still lacking. So. That internal reorganization option does build on the demonstrated strengths of the team, and that's not only within the fire service, but outside of that fire service. It does avoid the risk and uncertainty of a poor leadership hire, but the disadvantage, of course, is that it does create some unclear lines of authority and responsibility. We wouldn't have the capacity to absorb all those director level responsibilities. So how do we shift that around within the organization? And probably not the best long-term approach, because it does provide some risk and challenges with people leave the organization and they have a lot on their plate, and there's a lot being balanced there. So not necessarily maybe the best approach, but certainly an option if council thinks that this is a way we want to investigate. That happy to take that on. So going to option 4, so now we're kind of changing the model a little bit into something that's a little bit more, I'm going to call it unique, but not unheard of within the fire service in Ontario. So option 4 is contracted oversight. So that's looking to engage a neighboring municipality through a service agreement to have a contracted fire chief. So we're hiring someone, a municipality, to be our fire chief, but it's a fire chief on a contracted basis. Advantages of this approach is that it allows us to be more cost effective, gives us access to experienced leadership, does provide a defined period where we go through that. It might eliminate the risk and provide us, it naturally provides an opportunity to reassess if it's working for us. And if it's not working for us, we can go back and review the options that we've gone through already. And then the other advantage of this, which I think is, we can spend a lot of time talking about, but it's building that intermunicipal relationship that could result in some greater long-term benefits. Disadvantage, of course, is the availability and responsiveness for this opportunity may be limited. Cultural integration may be difficult. If different fire service has a different way of doing things, it might be hard to adapt to the way that South Dundas does things. Not that either way is wrong, but there is a cultural integration that's necessary. And it may not provide that full administrative capacity we're looking for. So we still might need, as an example, someone to focus on health and safety and some of those other fire administrative duties that we need to have done. Option 5 takes that option 4 a little bit further as well. So this is a shared services partnership. So what would happen under this potential scenario is actually creating a full partnership with a neighboring municipality. And the difference between what the previous one and this option is that we actually are contributing resources. So we are, this whole idea is built on mutual contribution and shared benefit. So we're all contributing resources to it and we're all getting something out of it. The advantage of this approach is that it's a partnership rather than a service. So there's a little bit more skin in the game for both parties. Aligns with the broader trends in service delivery within the municipal world. So looking at unique ways to save money and expand our services and provide efficiencies. And I think if you compared it to option 4, this one provides actually a greater foundation for a broader long-term partnership with a municipality, particularly depending on its geographic location. Disadvantage is that it might be difficult to find a partner. Negotiating an equitable arrangement may be difficult, and governance could be challenging because it requires some clear agreements between the parties and how we make decisions, how we deal with liability, and how we deal with situations that may not be working. With that, our recommendation from a staff level is exploring option 4 and 5. If council wanted my view on it, I think that those ones provide the greatest opportunity. We've at a CAO level, we've had some, we've thrown it out to the CAO level on a preliminary basis. I'm not going to pretend that I've got a mandate to negotiate or have those serious discussions, and I've been very clear with CAOs that that's the case. But I think that there's a genuine interest to explore some options, but I wouldn't suggest that the genuine interest is might end up that we find a willing partner, a dance partner for option 4 or 5. But I don't think that that's out of the realm of possibility either. So, with that, would love to get some feedback from council on what direction they'd like me to go.
Thanks, CEO DeHaan, Fire Chief DeHaan. Appreciate taking the time and really start to look in and investigate and get to know the people, right? I think that was really evident, and I think, the refocused and the strategy that we're going to need is going to be really important. And the confidence is really important with our community, with our fire service, which the stations and the members we have today are really important. And you mentioned it in the presentation about the uniqueness of each station. Any documentaries you may watch, or just our own experiences in South Dundas, and or talking with some other local communities. Each firehouse is very important, and that friendship and camaraderie and health and safety in each house is really important. And so, even though we recognize South Dundas as one larger department, each house is very important independently. So I think part of the strategy for us as a council team and leaders need to make sure that that's in the plan, and you kind of highlighted that. You and I have been in some of these conversations on options 4 or 5 with some other municipalities, some other interesting MOUs. There's been a few other communities in Ontario recently have done this. There's other communities that are looking for a bigger scale. So I think the time is right. If I've said collaboration once at every county council meeting, I've said it 10 times every county council meeting. And there's traction. There's definitely traction. And I think I would really like to see us explore options 4 and 5. I think it could benefit South Dundas, our fire service, and be really important for us. But I'll leave it for others to comment, obviously, as well. So, Councilor Reno.
Through your mayor, and I guess I have a unique position now because I'm back doing this again. But first thing I want to say is, since I've been back and everything, the morale, like you said, is extremely high right now, and everybody is very happy. And so I think whatever we do here, we just got to be careful and make sure we make the right decisions. And that's why I want to applaud the CAO, because there's clearly been a ton of work and a lot of data has gone into this, and I appreciate it very much. Options 4 and 5, if I could wave a magic wand, that's the direction I would go. From the provincial level down, the rural fire service has changed drastically since even I joined 10 years ago. And I think the traditional models are starting to show strain because of that. I don't think each individual municipality can afford or support a traditional, like, city style, where the tax base is much more dense, style structure. I would like to see, I kind of picture in my head having a director / manager for, say we're SDG, each municipality kind of has a director of their fire service, and then they have a shared service for 1 or 2, however many you decide, very experienced, competent fire chiefs, people that have the operational experience, the knowledge of the fire code, the knowledge of the scenes. So then if there are big incidences, you have somebody to call on, and those people are shared between the rest of the municipalities. That's the way I see this. And with the 4 municipalities that we've started now with the training side, I think that's cracked open the door to something much larger. And so that definitely is the way I think this should look, because everybody I talk to, at least in our municipality, they appreciate the autonomy that they have to do what they do best, the operational side. They can manage the scenes, 85%, 90% of the scenes, but you still, like I'm hearing, you still need to have, if there's a big scene, we need to have somebody to call that can show up to the scene that's really the, overarching, expertise. So something more along the lines of number 5, I think, like an actual shared service between 1, 2, 3 municipalities, however we were to structure that, I think would be the direction I'd like to see this go. I think would be the most advantageous to everybody.
Yeah, I mean, we have millions and millions in assets and people, right? And there definitely can be improvement opportunities in the status quo. Councillor Smith? Yeah.
So just to explore option number 5 more, when we talk about sharing resources back and forth, so what exactly does that mean? Like sharing people, like for instance, like fire prevention officer, like trading those types of things back and forth, or what exactly would we be talking about?
Yeah, I think it could go from right up to that, essentially like share that whole administrative element of the fire service. Yeah, it could. And then it could get into actually even beyond that in terms of, you know, if it's geographic neighbors sharing stations, sharing all sorts of stuff, apparatuses, sharing. Like it could go very far. I don't want to get into the idea. Like I think the location of our stations and the autonomy of our stations is very important. I don't want to suggest that we're going to start amalgamating stations. That's not the case at all. But like I think it does open the door to some very interesting discussions in terms of how we work together with neighboring municipalities.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say like steps 1 would be full-time staff, right? We would share like what full-time staff we would have. That would where we'd start with the sharing opportunities. Yeah. Councillor Ward.
Oh boy, I have a lot to say about option 5. I think it is my favorite option. I know that you're chairing collaboration at the county council table, but this is a big one. I picture this similar to how paramedics is serviced. I do know that there's a city component there, but removing the city out of that situation is kind of how I see that being managed, where you kind of have your admin staff who don't respond to every call that are only there when they're needed. And I think there's capacity in the world and in this region for individuals who can fill that role that maybe can't be firefighters anymore. So I'm sure, as you know, Councillor Vino, that there's some firefighters who just literally can't be a firefighter anymore, but they still have that experience and that knowledge. So it might be a great role down the line, however that shapes out, if that's where we go. But I think collaboration on something like this, like an SDG-wide fire service, and the reason why I also think it's a great idea is because we have a really hard time with daytime response here, but we do in every other municipality. But if you work or live in SDG, so say, for example, daytime response, and you work in Winchester, well, perhaps you can respond there. Like we're all one, I'd like that too, but one fire service. If we all have one fire service, then maybe that allows people to respond where they are. Because I think one of the biggest problems is response times during the day. Like they can't physically get back to the station. So if it's SDG wide, perhaps if you're working somewhere, you can respond similar to like, perhaps if someone from North Dundas is working in South Dundas, they can respond to a South Dundas fire because we're all one service. So I really hope that this catches traction, and I really hope County Council has an appetite for something like this. So I fully support option 5, but option 4 is a great baby step, maybe. So I can appreciate that both are good options to consider, and that's I think that would be my perspective on that.
Great. Yeah, Councillor Vino.
Yeah, so exactly what I was thinking. Like I picture like SG&G fire kind of thing, but because I know all of the stations, myself included, you're very proud of your individual station, but I like to think, and I truly believe, that all rural all firefighters in general, but I'm speaking about our rural firefighters out here, ultimately we're looking to protect all of our residents. And so if that means that I'm working, like you say, somewhere else, maybe that we're talking, this is much bigger than right now. And so that's why I wanted to just bring it back to the here and now. This is all stuff that will take time. And I don't think we need a CAO/fire chief for the next year while this sorts itself out. So I think we need to talk short term and what we can do to alleviate the pressures that we have at the fire service right now, here and now. And so I'd like to talk about that a little bit and get your opinion, maybe CAO and fire chief. Do we need like an interim contracted position for a fire chief, or a contracted position for an administrator, or something to support while we go through this exercise? Because I don't think this is going to take 1 month. this is going to take some doing, I think. So what do we think around the table for that?
Seal?
So I don't necessarily think that there's a significant time crunch that we solve this problem in a month. I think exploring option 4 and 5, backing up a little bit, if every fire chief or if multiple fire chiefs within the region were retiring at the same time, then it gets a lot easier to have these conversations and it's just, I think that's part of the timing with some of this, is that we have very good and stable leadership across the region. So I think everybody minds open up to this opportunity when the opportunity kind of presents itself internally, right? So this is the challenge that we have. So we may be in like a little bit of a pause for some time while stars really start to align. But that being said, I do think and I apologize if it was Councillor Ward or the mayor or whichever councillor mentioned it. Option 4 is or actually it was Councillor Vino. The option 4 is really the baby step into option 5. So if I had to put money on it, I'm going to guess option 4, we might actually have some relatively quick chance of success that leads into option 5 going forward. So that would be I don't think we need to necessarily find anybody at the moment. I think we need to have knowing if it sounds council's very supportive of option 4 and option 5, that now I can kind of go to those local CAOs across the region and really say no, I've got a mandate to have this discussion. Are you in or you're out? And if you're not interested in having the discussion, no problem. I'll go to the next person. And that's okay. And then we can see because it could be a month from now I come back and say, really, no one's in a position to even consider option 4 or 5. And then we can kind of come back to the interim hold idea or alternatives.
Councillor Vino?
That sounds great. I just don't want to stress you and the deputy chiefs and the captains and whatnot any further than we have to if we think it's going to take a while. One thing I would say, just in your conversations, I'm sure you will, but part of this could be, say our neighboring municipality has a full-time fire chief and we ask for to take some of that person's time. Well, they're currently doing the admin tasks at that department, so it may come to a point where maybe we have to bring on an admin staff and, compensate them a little bit for their chief. And that admin staff, though, works on both sides. So you can bring that up in your discussions, but that sounds good to me.
Yeah. Awesome. So it's like the settlement is obviously 4 or 5 to move forward on, take direction to have that. And it feels like the other options aren't what we like to see at this time, so give it that direction. Okay, just brief monologue before we go into a closed session. Just spring is approaching and the ice and snow will be melting, and ice safety cannot be more important to think about than over the next month as the icebreakers will be coming through, and folks that might use any ice around. Rescue apparatus are few and far, right? So not being on unsafe ice is the best practice by everybody. And then streams, runoffs, you think about how the Nash Creek that runs right through our community, how busy of water flow that is. So ice and water safety should be on the forefront of everybody's mind here for the next month. So I'll leave it at that. So I have a motion. Let it be resolved that the Council of South Dundas move into in-camera session at 7:02 p.m. to discuss the following matters under the section 239 of the Municipal Act, planning, instruction, negotiations, specifically with St. Lawrence Parks. Moved by Councillor Smith, seconded by Councillor Vino. All in favor? Carried. Okay, returning to open council, I have a motion, let it resolve that the council rise and reconvene in open session at 7:52 PM, moved by Councillor Smith, seconded by Councillor Vino, all in favor? Carried. Ratification bylaw, let it be resolved that bylaw number 2615 being a bylaw to adopt, confirm, and ratify matters dealt by resolution read and passed open council, signed and sealed. Moved by Councillor Smith, seconded by Councillor Ward, all in favor? Carried. And a motion to adjourn at 7:53 to call it the chair. Moved by Councillor Vino, seconded by Councillor Smith. All in favor? Carried. Thank you for watching tonight and participating in the Municipality of South Dundas Council meeting for Wednesday, March the 4th. With that, good night.